Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Get Puck Podcast. Matt, Dave, Vito, and Luca here. How you boys doing?
Pretty great.
Pretty great. As well you should be. So, on the Habs front, gentlemen, some interesting things have occurred. I mean, we're all in the know. We knew it was going to happen, but interesting nonetheless. We had the rookie showcase. In addition to that, we also had the annual golf tournament, where we always get some fun and wonderful things said, and we're going to go over those topics today. So lock in.
Locked.
I'm a little bit jacked up for it. Sorry.
I miss going to that tournament. I used to go to that golf tournament every year. It was fantastic. It was fun. I was there the morning that they found out that Pacioretty was dealt for Suzuki. It was fantastic.
7 years ago.
That's crazy.
Is that not insane?
Yeah.
That when I read that, I was like, that's wild. So yeah, that one really rocked me. But anyways, that wasn't what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
What I want to talk about. We'll start with the rookie showcase. Obviously, we can do the simple thing. I mean, who stood out, who didn't stand out? Feel free to let me know about that too, and in the comments below if you want to. For those that are listening, always fast to know about that one. But the person I want to hone in on, obviously, is Demidov. I think it's universal. It's unanimous. I think you go and ask anybody who watched him, who was there, anybody who watched the games at home, anybody who you talk to. This was a guy. This was a man not playing with children, but playing with like kids in the womb, like not even children. Like it was so drastically different to watch him play versus watching who else was out there. It was comical. And we got him in one game. We didn't get him in several because clearly there was no reason to. But just for that one game, just for the sheer notion of what you were capable of seeing, what he was able to do out there, what he was doing with these other rookies, it just makes me constantly come back to, and I know he played 7 games last year. Let's just put that aside. He was good out there, but let's be real. This is his first real season. The hype. I always come back to the hype, right? The draft, how he was drafted, who made the selection, how he fell to 5, all these things, the speculation of will he fall, everything about it. Now that he's here, he's arrived, it's starting, he's going to start this season with the team 100%. Can this guy truly meet expectation? Can he be a guy, can he be a rookie who can come out the gate and potentially be something like virtually a point a game? Can this be something that's plausible? Is this something that people could truly go and believe in? Or regardless what the hype train tells you, this is still a 19-year-old, it's still a rookie, it's still the NHL, the best league of hockey in the world, and everybody needs to cool the jets. He'll probably still have a good season, but let's all chill out. I want to know what your take is on that. We'll start Davide.
Me?
Yeah, why
not? Yes, I think he can. And in all honesty, I'm gonna, might be a hot take here or something. I think I'd be disappointed if he doesn't flirt with a point a game. I think that it sounds crazy to say, right? Because if you look at like the best players in the NHL, Austin Matthews had 69 points in 82 games, and he wasn't even a point a game player. I think there was very few people. I think in the past few years, I don't even think anybody really has done it. McDavid, I think, did it.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anybody else that's really done it. But we're in a new generation and a new era. And I think that, Austin Matthews, when he debuted, he started on that third line, and he was under Mike Babcock, and he was pinned to that third line, and he never moved out of that third line. In fact, Leafs fans were a bit frustrated, even if as he racked up the points, he was behind Bozak, he was behind Kadri. And he won't get the opportunities necessarily that Demidov will. I honestly think that there's a possibility he's going to be on that second line to start the season. But if they're smart, they move him up to that first line eventually, and I can see it happening unless they're gung-ho about sticking with that top line set in stone, which I don't think they will be. I think that he'll eventually work his way. As of November, I think he'll be on power play 1, getting all that power play time. And I don't necessarily think I see a world where it can happen. It's a different era. It's a different generation. And I think that at this point, if he's going to live up to the hype, he has to flirt with that amount of points in that season. And I get it. And it's going to be also a test of how Marty St. Louis coaches him as well. Is he going to promote him to that first power play? How long is it going to take for him to get there? How is he going to be pinned on that second line? Is he going to play him around? Is he going to play to his strengths? How is he going to deal with the matchups coming in? It's going to be also, this season is not only a testament on Demidov, but it's going to be a testament also on Marty St. Louis' coaching and how he handles young talent. So I'm interested to see what he could do. But you see Lane Hudson and what he did last year. There's no reason here that he can't. And I honestly think that if he doesn't get to that 70, 75 point range, barring injury, I think you got to be like a little bit disappointed, in my opinion. And that's my hot take for the day.
So high expectations from Dave, who would have been the one I would have thought that would have told everybody to temper their expectations as the realist. But you know what? You believe in him.
There's talent and and you know, when you look in your own eyes, not that I didn't believe the hype when he was drafted, but I had never seen him play personally. I didn't watch KHL games. I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like I see the highlights, but anybody can make you can make a highlight package out of absolutely anybody. But when you see him in a game and you see how he plays and you see his vision, you see what it is. I know we have a small sample size, but I trust my gut instinct. I trust my eyes. I trust to see what I can see. And I think that he's the real deal. So barring some psychological issues, some health issues, some maybe it's a long season in the NHL, so you never know. But I don't see why not. I mean, in 2016, when Austin Matthews did it, like when he debuted, let's say there was like 5 players that were point-a-game players. Last year, I think there was like 30-something players. In the top 30 players all reached a point a game. It's a completely different time than it was back in the day. There's no reason he can't be that true. Like even Mishkov last year, he scored. Well, I don't want to bring him up, but he got 63 and 80, and he did it playing on the third line with like Morgan Frost and Forster with John Tortorella as his coach.
Damn it, Dave! You took my take.
You know what I mean? Like, had he been playing under Marty St. Louis or any coach that had not just like penciled hold him into this situation, Mishkov could have had a point a game, in my opinion. I think that he'll probably be that this year. So that's my take. I'm sorry if I stole all your takes. I will shut up now.
Okay.
I'm excited. All right, I'm excited.
This might be like the most excited I've seen you for something in the 5 years of us doing this. So it's pretty big. Luca, what do you think? Is it point or game or bust? Is that your take as well, or your temper expectations?
I'm actually gonna go one above Dave. I think he's gonna go way higher than a point a game. Like there's talent, right? There's talent, like Dave said, there's talent, and then there's talent with work ethic. And this kid is at the rink 2 times a day, sometimes 3. So he's willing to put in the work. He's willing to learn. He's willing to go above and beyond. Like, when's the last time you saw anybody going to the rink 3 times a day?
I mean, I don't keep track of the comings and goings of all the players. Like, I'm sure a bunch do, but so what are you then proposing? So above a point, so you think he's a 100-point player in his rookie season?
I think he's going to be just shy of 100 points. I think in his rookie season, I think he has the potential to do it. What's that face?
Wow.
Yeah, man, dude, that's a take. Yeah,
that's a take.
Honestly, like I might be like super hopeful, and yeah, I'll be the first to admit it, but I don't know.
His line mates, out of curiosity, in this season that he has completed and got 98 points. I'm curious. I'm curious where it's coming.
Well, I think he is going to get bumped up to the first line.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, you think would be that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more reasoning now.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
A lot's happening in my head right now.
That's fine. That's
he's
cool.
a Calder favorite already. Since last year. You know, even Lane Hudson saw him play, and he's like, "Wow, he's good." Like,
you guys see the pictures of Lane at the rookie showcase when he's up there in the stands, and he's like just a smile, and everybody's making these memes about like how he had to pass to Pizzetta last year, and this year gets to pass to him. Respect Pizzetta, but still. It was very funny. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that basically was my point. Just like even Lane Hudson's like kind of like fawning over him. Just it's the total package. Like, what more can you want from this kid?
All right, so point a game for Dave. Otherwise, a little bit of disappointment if he doesn't. You got almost 100 points coming from Luca. Vito, bring us back to earth, Vito.
Yeah. No, barring injury,
No.
I think he's gonna flirt with a point per game. I think he's gonna be more in the mid 70s, I would say, because think of it the way I see it is Michkov got 63 points, and it didn't have the same supporting cast that Montreal can offer or pair Demidov with. And then I look at also Macklin Celebrini. Different position. He's a center, but he also got 63 points in 70 games, and he played I think that's a 73, 74 point pace. So I'm looking at something like that for Demidov, somewhere in the between 70 and 75 points, barring any injury. Is it crazy to say that he surpasses that? I mean, it's going to be challenging. He's never played an 82 game schedule ever before, so we'll see how that goes. But he's got the skill, he's got the talent, he's got the right supporting cast around him, he's got the right coach, in my opinion, to kind of guide him. And he's going to go through ups and downs, and there's going to be peaks and valleys in his game throughout the season. He definitely is a hard worker, as Luca mentioned. From everything you see, he's a rink rat. He's always at the rink, always trying to work on his craft, which is exactly what anybody wants to see from a superstar in the making. So I'm going to say that he finishes off with somewhere in between 70 and 75 points. And what I think is going to happen is he won't stay or be a fixture on the first line once he gets there. I think if Slafkovsky has a slow start like he's had the last 2 seasons, you might see Demidov, who might be, let's say, hotter at the beginning, and then they're kind of like going to interchange until they figure out. It's going to be some internal competition there. But at the same time, I don't think they want to make that first line too small either. So Slafkovsky does bring necessary size. I also think Slafkovsky is going to come out of the gate strong this year. But just to say, I think between 70 and 75 points is where I'm comfortable with Demidov. Anything more than that is a bonus, and I'm satisfied regardless.
I'm just saying, Lane Hudson got 66 points last season.
Yeah, but look at that. Lane Hudson got 66, won the Calder. Macklin Celebrini got 63 and 70. Michkov got 63 and 80, and who knows where Michkov would have been if they got rid of Tortorella sooner.
Yeah.
So when people were comparing Demidov and whatnot at the beginning, they were questioning his offensive game in comparison to Michkov. Demidov's got a more well-rounded game than Michkov does, and the scouting reports is that Michkov should have a bit more of an offensive ceiling than Demidov. So it's gonna depend on what they expect Demidov to play. Does he play the full 200 feet? Or, is he going to be somebody that's going to be like just focus on the offensive zone and the neutral zone game too? So there's a lot of variables there, but I'm comfortable enough to say that barring injury, and I think with the right center there and with the right, Patrick Laine on the 5-on-5 who's going to help score some goals, and Demidov's going to feed that. I'm comfortable with 70 to 75 points. He's going to get power play time, whether it's power play 2 or power play 1. Yeah, there's talent on both lines. So I could see that 70, 75 points.
I would have to say between the three of your takes, my own personal opinion aligns a bit more with Vito than Dave and Luca. I kind of also envisioned him to be high 70s, if not flirt point a game. If he doesn't hit point a game, I guess where it differs from you, Dave, is I don't necessarily think I'd be disappointed unless it was drastically under point a game. I think that would be something that there'd be something amiss in the situation, barring, of course, we're not talking injuries and stuff. We're just saying in general. Oh, we lost Vito, but it looks like he's coming back. Maybe. Anyways, as Vito works out his technical difficulties, just saying to say, however, I think that's where I also find myself in that camp. And I think a little bit to what Luca's suggesting, my take also is I suspect that first line is going to get shuffled up a bit. I think you're going to see Demidov with Suzuki.
Yeah,
I think that's inevitability. And the moment that happens, I think you're going to unlock the next level in Suzuki even, and the potential in Demidov is going to just go through the roof. It just, I can't see how it's not going to be. And that's not a knock on Slav per se either. I just think that if Kirby Dach also comes out healthy, there was some some beginnings of chemistry there. So it's like, why not? That's sort of where my thinking is at about that.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, I think, when I say disappointed, I just mean he there's hype around him, right? So if he puts up 58 points, it's disappointing in the sense that he didn't, in my opinion, live up to his hype, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we should all be disappointed and his career won't turn out the way anybody wants.
Sure. Yeah.
But there is definitely, I mean, there's hype, and if there's going to be hype, then he's got to actually, produce, and he's got to put up the points, which is my going with it. And that's why the Marty St. Louis factor is a good, like everyone mentioned good points, like, will he be expected to play that 200 game, or do you let him loose for his first full year? You kind of build up that confidence, work on that, and then kind of like Cole Caulfield, rein him in a couple of years later and start working on his other aspects of the game. It's going to be interesting to see that. I think you'll have a lot less, obviously, responsibilities than a Connor Bedard and a Celebrini had playing the position he plays. So it's just, I think there's going to be a lot more room for him to grow and put up these points, uncontested.
His line mates too. Like if he plays with Kirby Dach and Patrick Laine, who are not the most defensively responsible people, there might be expectations there for him to be a bit more responsible on the defensive side to make things.
But that's where Marty St. Louis has to play to his strengths, and he has to play to his lineup strengths. And I think that would be a mistake to just put him with two irresponsible players and hope for the best. And he has to shuffle that line. He did not shuffle that top line almost at all last year. And I thought that was a mistake. I mentioned it before. Like, you have to move things around in an NHL season, or you become predictable and you become easy to game plan against. And that's also another problem, is that, like, you can't just put him there. He's your 2 right wing for now, and then you leave him there and hope that teams won't work around it and figure it out. It's going to be very interesting. I think this is the year that we're going to be able to really judge Marty St. Louis and how he coaches. Because it's easy to just let people off their rein and go for it when there's no expectations. This plays a big factor in how you're going to handle this young player coming in. It's going to play a huge factor, I think, in how we view him as a coach.
Well, I'm in agreement with that too. I mean, we can definitely start to do a little bit of a breakdown of Marty St. Louis and see how he's going to ultimately work with the pieces that he has this year versus, which I think we're all in agreement is, and kind of parlays into my next thing that I want to talk about, but they were mentioning that this is the most talented team since Gorton and Hughes have been here, and probably way before they've been here. Like, might be the most talented team.
There are some question marks. I think the difference with this year versus last year nobody had any expectations. This year, because they made it to the playoffs, there's certain, and they acquired Dobson, they got Bolduc. There's some expectations out of the gate. But what a lot of people are not considering is that while Armia and Dvorak and guys like that were, quote unquote replaceable, and some people wanted them out right away, they still had a defensive element that Montreal's now, if you look at their lineup, is lacking a bit. Like if you're looking at who they have at the bottom 6, don't get me wrong, they're still very good. They still got Josh Anderson, they still got Brendan Gallagher, there's still Jake Evans in New York. There's still the same regular faces, but there's some guys like Armia was the most inconsistent player in the world, but his forechecking and his defensive game was not to be questioned, and Montreal's missing that. But what I think they're going to do is just run offense.
Are they though? I mean, this isn't where I want to go, but since you're mentioning it, I mean, are they? I mean, it's nice to go and think back of like the good times when Armia would do things and you're like, where is this guy all the time?
I'm not saying I miss them. I'm not saying, but there are some
not replaceable. You don't think there's guys on the team now that can do what they did?
Well, the way I see it
obviously,
right now.
Luka thinks so.
Down the middle.
No, I was laughing at Vito's face.
Down the middle.
We often laugh at Vito's face. All love, brother. I'm just joking.
You're very expressive, man.
It's not so much that they're not replaceable. They are, but they did help out. Like Armia was a beast on the PK. Who's going to take his role on the PK now? Dvorak was one of the best face-off guys on the team.
That's the beauty of it.
That responsibility now.
Okay, so for the PK thing, I'm a strong believer that you could put talent there. You've seen people, you could figure out the PK thing. I think,
and I want to make it clear. I don't miss either one of them. I was one of those guys that said I can't wait for their contracts to get off the books.
And yeah, all right, fair. And that's true. You were, but to be honest, for the PK thing, it's like an open audition, right? Like people just you're going to let loose and you're going to see who fits and who works, and you're going to go for it. And I just think that there's people that could step up, and you could put talent there as well. Like a lot of people just view, it's the bottom 6 guys that kill penalties, but like you've seen it before. Talented guys
like,
come in.
I probably expect Bolduc to maybe take some of that. And Suzuki's going to play a little bit, and Jake Evans. Remember Jake Evans at Armia at the first like half to even 3/4 of the season last year. It was a big reason why the Canadiens got to where they got to. But anyways, all this to say,
but that was an anomaly, right?
I'm trying to temper the expectations. I'm excited for the season. I can't wait to see Demidov. I can't wait to see what happens with Slav and Patrick Laine seems to have had a full summer of training. There's a lot of great things to look at. But at the same time, everybody's kind of going into it saying it's a foregone conclusion that they're making the playoffs and they're better. Yes, they got Dobson, they got Bolduc, they addressed key positions that were of need.
But even Suzuki said it at the conference today. The previous year he said like paraphrasing, but essentially is nobody's looking at Montreal as a playoff team, and he wants to prove everybody wrong. And this year he walks in saying we proved everybody wrong. So this year it's not that everybody doesn't think they're a playoff team. Everybody thinks they are a playoff team. And now the expectation is they're going to be treated as such, which is they're going to be played against harder. The matchups, you're not going to get the backup goalies and all these other things that come with that when you feel like, okay, these are whatever. We don't have to go as hard against these guys. So it's a different team. It's a better team. But with that comes, I think, a greater sense of competition that's going to be played against them. So you're right. It's not a foregone conclusion. If they don't make the playoffs, they might have the same amount of points as they ended up with last season, and they might not make the playoffs. There's a chance that's possible.
To me.
I would be disappointed. I absolutely would be disappointed.
It's a step back in the rebuild, I think, or it's a stall. Maybe not a step back, but it's a stall in the rebuild.
It depends how they would get.
Of course, if there's a ton of injuries,
if they did great all season and didn't have the crazy drought like they did last year before the Four Nations, and the teams around them were just as good or better, it's hard to say anything, right? The other teams improved too. Only Boston regressed and got worse. If you're looking at the Atlantic,
I think this year they make the playoffs, but in a more convincing fashion. They don't squeak it on the last game.
That was my prediction a few episodes ago. That they're going to be more, make it in a more convincing fashion. Yeah. Now, again, it's always the same thing. Everything has to go right. Everybody's got to stay healthy. You can't. I still think they're going to acquire a second line center, but if they go in with Doc and Doc ends up getting hurt, God forbid, but if he does, I'm not very convinced with having Newhook or Jake Evans as the 2C at that point.
No, for sure.
I mean, there's a limit to how much you can game plan for injury. I mean, the plan is if he's coming in, if they don't make a move and you start the season with Doc.
You can game plan for this, and they should game plan for this.
Well, I'm sure they do.
While he's a very talented player when he's healthy, has not had a single healthy season in his entire young career.
I'm sure they got names because I don't think, to what your point and what I believe you're alluding to, is they don't have an answer internally for it. I believe they have a list of names, and if Doc, like you say, for some reason goes down, they'll make a move to bring in a guy who is a bona fide 2C, even if it's a short-term thing and even if it's no
internally. You know what it is. It's basically they're going to grab Newhook, probably put him in
the second line. Maybe they try Bolduc.
They'll try it. But anyways,
or Florian Jack-Eye,
Jake Evans, and then you're going to look at Kapanen, or we'll see if Jack-Eye continues as the fourth. So no, I'm not impressed.
Okay. On that vein, I'll start with you, Luca. Just because you're sitting there staring and you're eager to answer a question, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
There was an interesting thing that was said at the press conference at the golf tournament / press conference. Hughes came out, and again, I'm always paraphrasing. I don't have the exact wordage here, but basically what he said is, if there's a player that they want to get, that they really feel is going to help this team, they are prepared to overpay to get that player. His words, for the most part there, the overpay in particular. And I believe, could be wrong, and fact check me in the comments if I am, this is the first time that they've really expressed it in that manner. Usually it's, we're not going to mortgage the future. We're not going to trade futures for something for a fix for now and things like this. Now it's, I believe he's showing his cards a little bit more, saying we're pretty happy with this team. obviously we want to get better, and obviously we're always looking. And if there's one guy that we want that is somehow available and the ask is higher than most would pay, we will step up and make that payment. First question is, how do you feel about that sentiment coming from the general manager? And second is there somebody in your head that you can come up with now that would be your overpay guy, that if made available some way, shape, or form, you would be prepared to pony up some big assets to acquire because you feel the team is ready and is right there with this one guy?
Okay, so how do I feel about it? Well, I'm excited because, finally a GM that has the cojones to actually do something, right? In terms of a player that I mean, we've been talking about him forever, but Sidney Crosby, but like aside from him, I don't know, Elias Pettersson.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I would overpay for him.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the thoughts. Go after the Canucks with their whole mess that they are. Well, listen,
I would.
Maybe they blow it up. The Hughes wants to go play with his brothers. Pettersson gone. They completely go rebuild style. Go for McKenna. Take future. Hey,
exactly.
I don't think it's the craziest thing. All right.
Yeah, that was my little idea.
Okay. Dave, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you overpay for Crosby. That's like a no-brainer for that.
Yeah.
Mason McTavish, I'd be ready to overpay for. It depends on what the overpay is. Like, we're not going crazy and losing like crazy players for it, but I'd be willing to you need somebody at that 2C. So if you want to make it work, you make it work. And if not, I mean, I've always liked Kirill Kaprizov. He's always been on my wish list. That's a guy. But then again, the contract gets tricky, and that's where, I mean, like it's not an easy fit for sure. And then what do you give up to get him and this and that? But he's obviously a guy that I've always circled as a guy who would be a perfect fit, I think, here in Montreal. For some reason, I always envisioned him as a perfect Hab. I think the cost is going to be a bit too much, so overpaying is what you're going to definitely have to do, and I think it's like overpaying.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that I probably would definitely overpay for. Those are the three guys I think that you'd have to point to. Elias Pettersson is an interesting one. I don't know. It depends on what it would cost, and I don't know. I don't know how he'd fit here. We'd have to see. But those are my three guys.
Okay. Vito.
Well, you guys already know my sentiments about Crosby. You know my sentiments about McTavish. So I'm going to put those aside and say who I would overpay for as a center, Robert Thomas. I would overpay for him.
Interesting.
And who I would have as that maybe it costs too much to get Robert Thomas, and maybe you can work something out based on what's going on, is I'd look at LA and see what it would cost to get Quinton Byfield out of there.
Yeah, that's not going to happen though. But yeah.
But those are, I'd be looking for something a bit more of a long-term fixture. Last year you even saw Quinton Byfield got tossed to the wing and then back to center, and they're kind of carouseling that a little bit. So just I would look at something like that. Like obviously Mason McTavish, it would be an ideal fit, especially with all the rumors and all that. But just in case he's not attainable and he's not going to come to Montreal and whatnot, I think Robert Thomas would be a perfect fit. I think his cap is just right also, and he's got just enough term. And with St. Louis kind of with rumors last year, maybe they wanted to kind of like shuffle things up and do something different. Maybe there's something there. It was already Robert Thomas's name circulating last winter, not to Montreal, just, in the rumor mill, and you saw that his name and Kairou's name were there. So I'm just wondering if that's still a possibility, because that would be you're penciling him as this is a 2C per se. You're having a 1A 1B situation in Montreal if you have Robert Thomas there.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are some good names, man. Those are some interesting names. I mean, for me, it's less about the names. It's more about which most of you guys, you went for the names and less so about the first part of the question, which is obviously the more fun part. But for me, when I always think about what the messaging is, it just seemed so different of a messaging from management which I take for what it is. I mean, this is a representation of how they feel about the team and where the team is at, and they're there and they're making a public statement to say that, listen, we will not shy away from getting somebody because we're going to constantly be protecting our assets.
It's about time. But you have to understand too, and people are going to have to understand this too. You could only have 50 players on your roster, on your organization signed, right? Montreal can only have so many draft pick players, so many. The cupboard could only be so full. At some point, you're going to have certain players, NHL ready bodies, and you can't keep drafting and then leaving these people unsigned. So some of these picks, even if they're high picks, are going to have to be traded, or they're going to have to move some of the assets they got. There is one more player, one more center that I do like that center's profile. He doesn't get mentioned enough because he's down the depth chart because of how deep the team is. He's in Florida, and it's Lindell. I think he's underrated. I think that he's very young. He plays a strong two-way game, and it's only because he's penciled in as the 3C in Florida because of who they have up in front of him with Bennett and Barkov that he's not a fixture on the 2C to begin with. But that's a player too that I'd keep an eye on if you could pluck him for cheap. If he wants a bit more of a bigger role, that might be a decent sneaky pick right there.
I believe the question was overpay, but it's all right.
Even if I want to overpay, there's sometimes you don't have to overpay to go find the solution.
That's fair. That just wasn't the question.
Yeah, I don't. I'm giving you guys. I'm giving you guys a little bit extra. The other two guys are overpays. Anton Lundell is the one that sneak in there and get maybe a bargain.
There's to end on this one last little bit, the one guy that I keep thinking of, and the only reason why it kind of crosses my mind, only reason why, my only reservation about him is his age, realistically. But I think he would be a really interesting addition if some way, somehow, you call up Calgary and you try to pry Kadri.
Too expensive. He's got like 4 years. The guy's old.
I mean, first off, yes, he is old. The amount of years left on the contract is the part that kind of concerns me too. The money, is another thing. You can always make this work, and of course, the overpay. That said, I mean, what I think he would bring, I mean, I like his style of game. I like the style of the game. He's a Stanley Cup winner. I mean, there's a bunch of elements here. This is like a 60 plus point player perennially, and then some. There's a lot to like there, but the age is a bit of a concern.
He's 34. He's got 4 years left at $7 million. I think for 2 years it's fine, but then do you really want to put yourself and does the team really want to put themselves in a situation where they then have to pay this guy? Basically a Gallagher-esque situation where it's $7 million for another 2 more years, and they're stuck with it essentially.
Salary cap's going up. We know this is to be a fact. I mean, it's
just because it's going up doesn't mean I want to pigeonhole.
I would not rush to do it, but I wouldn't necessarily just shut the door on looking at him solely because of age and contract. I think what he can bring. And if you start talking about if the window is starting to open now or next year, and he's got 3 more years in him,
but you would, to answer your question, you would overpay for Nazem Kadri. It was your question.
I know it's my question. I know it's my question. I know. I mean, no, I probably wouldn't want to overpay. I'd want to have a proper trade.
Talking about here,
but it's still a guy to look at. Anyways, it was just something that came to mind. I was thinking about it before. All right. Don't judge me. But if you will, please judge us. And as always, like, subscribe, and the rest. Thank you so much for we're always judged, and that's fine. Thanks for taking the time and listening to us. We're very excited as the season starts to ramp up. Obviously, we're starting to do this weekly now. We're trying to get back on that weekly cadence. Look for us at the beginning of the week. That's what we're trying to shoot for. Turn on that little notification thing on the YouTube, your social medias. We're always there as well. We'll let you know when we drop new episodes. Thanks so very much. And of course, as always, let us know in the comments your take on any of the questions we talked about or any of the topics we've talked about in this episode. Thank you. So for Vito, Dave, and Luca, I'm Matt, and this was
Get Pucked.